Hi, friends. Welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. We are finally back with another installment of the Mass Effect Readalong. We're talking about Catwoman Soulstealer. Apologies for the delay. I started a new job and everybody had so much going on and got sick and finding the time
Chaos.
to do this live was a lot. So I finally was like, you know what? Even if it's just me and Izzy, we're just gonna do this, and then we'll push everything back a month. So for people following along, end of June we'll do House of Earth and Blood, and then continue on as planned a month later. So, is everyone this evening? Give everybody a few minutes to come in. What do I need to say? Oh, as a reminder.
I guess we should talk about that.
I know, since we're here. Izzy and I are co-hosting a bookish retreat in Costa Rica in January of 2026. So it's Memorial Day weekend if you're thinking about your travel plans for next year. There are currently 5 early bird spots left available, and there is a link down below if you want to go check it out.
Come have bookish fun times with us in the new year.
Yeah. Lots of bookish chatting, spa day, light hiking,
be a good time.
Pool time, drinks. It's gonna be fun. Okay. So, Catwoman Soulstealer. I feel like this is also the one that people were kind of noped out of somewhat when they were like, I still am behind on these other long books. So
100%. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Honestly, it's fair. This is her one, the only one-off sort of book that she's done. And I read 3 of these books when they were coming out. I don't know if you did.
I have Warbringer. It's signed by Lee Bardugo. Never read it.
It's great. I really enjoyed all of them. Marie Lu did a Batman one, so I read all 3 of those, and they were great. But yeah, this is something a little bit different, but I do think it still reads like Sarah. So this was your first time reading it. It was a reread for me. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
So literally as I was reading, I was like, oh, this is Throne of Glass, but Catwoman. A little bit. Not completely, fair. But a little bit, which was fine. That kind of then I was like, did she get inspired by Catwoman for Throne of Glass a little bit with Selena? Or I don't know. I was like, I could see it, but yeah, it felt very Throne of Glassy in a way. I liked these. It made me actually kind of want to go back and read the first 3, and then maybe try some of the Harley ones after this. Because it actually there's quite a bit in this series, more than I expected, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't think there were as many as there are. I think it was they're up to 6 or 7 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's 3 Harley ones that tie in.
Oh, I didn't know about those. I gotta check that out. That's fun.
And I know Ashley liked the Harley Quinn ones. Realm of Kidlit and Comics. I was about to her old channel name. I was like, that is right? But yeah, I was surprised. And yeah, in a lot of ways it felt like early Throne of Glass vibes in a weird way. To me. I
can kind of see that, but set in a contemporary world, which is interesting.
But also that makes sense because this, the beginning of Throne of Glass, is very much a YA book.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was kind of I kind of get why I'm getting because I was like, why is it the vibe I'm getting? And I was like, this is also a YA book. That's probably why you're
yeah. It's a young Selena Kyle as an older teenager. Yeah, where do we want to start with this? One thing that's interesting is that even though it's Catwoman, you don't see Batman in this book. Batman's off doing other things, so it's with Batwing. And I had kind of forgotten, because I read this back when it came out. And I had kind of forgotten some of the stuff that was in it, which I thought was interesting. So this came out in 2018. Batwing is a Black character, which I thought was interesting. And she does a little bit of getting at some of the racial profiling that he faces, even being part of this very wealthy kind of elite family in the city. which I thought was interesting, and I thought was handled pretty well. I was asking a friend, and apparently she did have some like Black sensitivity readers for this.
I wonder, because like this came out, I mean, obviously that was always been an issue, but like it also came out pre like certain things happening in the world around us that have like made things even bigger conversations. So I thought that was interesting to see in a book
that came out as early and that she was doing that. Yeah. I think that was interesting.
No, I agree. I thought I was, so I don't know how like DC lore literate you are, like how much you know really. Okay, like I used to know more, so it was interesting reading this in some ways too, because like I used to read a lot more comics than I do. So I was like, this is really interesting to read like a YA book thing that like relies heavily on comics lore to an extent, because like Batwing is very much mostly in the comics. I think he was in some of the TV shows maybe, but not much. Like he's not super like well known. I think he's been in one of the movies. So that surprised me to have him like as such a focus.
I wonder if they did that because they knew they wanted to have Marie Lu do a Batman story, and so maybe they were trying to avoid having like
probably
two versions of that.
Or having to like cross-check that your Batman's lined up.
Right.
Which would make sense. I liked that though. I appreciated it. I think it made more sense for her as a pairing also, the two of them. Then
she does give Selena vibes, I would say, because it's a similar thing of like sort of I'm gonna put on this persona that's like silly and hyper feminine, but secretly I'm this weapon, which I think is cool. I kind of like that.
No, I do too. I always enjoy that when the murderous woman character is also flouncing around in pretty dresses and like, look at me, I'm not doing these things.
Yeah.
Like it's always a fun reveal.
It is fun. I love how she's like, oh, I'm like gonna act like I'm returning shopping bags of shoes, and that's how she's getting her like stolen money to the bank.
Yeah. No, and it's actually genius though. Like, of course, no one's gonna suspect, or like how she orchestrated the entire identity of Holly, and nobody batted an eye. But like, they're not wrong. Like today, we have that one lady, the scam lady who infiltrated like New York elites.
Oh yeah.
What is her? Is her name Anna something?
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
But like, you know, like, so we have that lady now, right? Yeah. So like, this is very believable to me that it would happen because,
I mean, you act the part, kind of get in. Yeah. No, I think it's interesting. Similarly, I had forgotten that like she's got a Poison Ivy is this like vegan lesbian who wants to save the planet and is in love with Harley Quinn, which is super messy. I just thought it was interesting because like this came out pre-2020.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Like she's been, I guess, doing this, having these kinds of side characters.
Yeah. For a while. You know? Like that, I know. I was surprised thinking about like when it came out as I was reading. I was like, this is really from 2018. But like the Harley thing tracks because now we have the DC cartoon on Max where it's Harley and Ivy dating,
which is fun. Yeah,
I think I was telling you about it because you told me they were like,
oh yeah, that's and I was like, oh my god, you're the one that told me about it because I'm like,
I watched it all because I love like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and all that. It's like some of my favorite things in DC. And I was like, and the show's, I mean, I don't know if it's good, but it's adult cartoon humor. You know, but also like hilarious at the same time because you're getting them on screen together finally. Yeah. So this felt like a prelude to that in a weird way as I was reading it because I was like, yeah, those two, just figuring it out now in their I guess early 20, like what they were like 20-ish.
Yeah.
That was also interesting to me how the characters were not actually. It's young adult, but the characters are not actually teenagers.
No, they're like just old enough to be adults, but still on the younger side. Yeah. No, it's interesting.
Yeah. Nowadays, everybody be arguing for it to be new adult. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought this was really fun. I think there's one kind of issue I have with it, which I'm sure we're gonna talk about because I think we have the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. We mentioned it before we went live, I think, where I was like, yeah, I'm glad you prepped me on that.
Yeah, no. So we'll talk about that. But other than this one thing, I think it's a good time.
I think it's fun.
I think it's a fun book. Yeah.
I really there's not a ton to talk that's hard. I don't think there's a ton to talk about with it. But it was surprisingly fun. Like I said, it made me kind of be like, wait, maybe I need to go read the other ones in the series. And I'm a hesitant YA reader these days. It takes a lot of people I know loving it for me to pick it up.
That's fair. I think they're fun. I think Lee's Wonder Woman was good. Marie's Batman. I think all of them were pretty good. I enjoyed them. And to be fair, I'm not deep in DC comics.
No, I mean, but that's what they're there for. That also, in a way, is an introduction and for younger kids to read these and enjoy them. Yeah, I feel like it treaded the line really well too of being I feel like I could hand this to a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, and not feel like this is too old for you, like some YA feels now. Yeah. Okay, the YA it feels like it's written for adults. This actually feels like it was written for that age group, and it was nice to see. Yeah. Depending on the kid, I could definitely see, younger than you might expect for it, I guess.
No, I agree. Because, even the romance elements don't go very far compared to how her other stuff does.
No. It's there's kissing. Oh, big deal.
And I love that, the forbidden love element of, they're not supposed to like each other, and yet,
it's got good tension, but it's not you could hand it to a younger-ish teen, and they're going to be into it. Yeah. I would have loved it at that age for sure. But yeah, it was kind of refreshing to read something though, written for that audience and felt like it was written for that audience.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. So the one caveat to all of this, which I'm kind of side-eyeing, is the handling of her sister, right? Yes. The start of the book is a couple years earlier when she's 16. Their mom is kind of MIA, and she's serving as the caregiver to her younger sister, who has pretty serious chronic illness. And her sister gets taken away, and she ends up joining this League of Assassins whatever they are. Yeah. And so cut to now, right? Where she's doing all of these things. She's back in the city. She's hoarding all this money. What is she doing? And at the end, spoilers.
Yeah, we're going full spoiler now.
Yeah, I mean, we find out that the whole idea was to try to heal her sister with this Lazarus pit.
So had you not told me ahead of time, I felt like I could see that in the story already though, from how it opens, and then knowing what I know about DC. I figured when Talia comes up, if you know about Talia, you know that the Lazarus pits play into that, but if you don't know that.
Okay, so this is the thing, is I do not know that this is a thing in DC Comics, so please tell me.
So Talia is actually comes from a guy who's an assassin. It's Ra's al Ghul is her dad, and she also ends up marrying Bruce Wayne at some point in the comics. But yeah, the Lazarus pits are something that her dad was controlling. So it's this whole thing that brings you back to life, and it's very coveted, obviously. So when we found out that she went to train with Talia, I was like, okay, Lazarus pits are coming. Because I was like, how are they going to do this for a brief moment?
I did not know to expect that.
But for a brief moment, for a brief moment, I was like, is it Poison Ivy's thing that she's working on? And then I was like, oh, no. Never mind. It's Lazarus pits. That's coming. So, yeah, because I know it from the comics. I haven't read DC in ages, but I used to, when they relaunched the New 52, back in the 2010s, I dove back in And I've read like The Killing Joke and like some of the classics, but yeah. So it's kind of a known thing if you know.
That's really interesting because I do feel like that kind of puts a different spin on it.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I was like, this is interesting that there's like ley lines, like magic elements getting woven in. I did not know it was like kind of part of it.
Ra's al Ghul and his League of Assassins are who run. I'm Googling to remind myself. I was like, hold up. Yeah. They are in control of the Lazarus Pits and like some of that. But there is like fantastical magical stuff in the DC universe that you don't realize because like we only get movies for not great storylines, to be honest with you. You know.
That's interesting.
But yeah.
So like the real issue here, right, is at the end, her sister is dying. She's been adopted by gay foster parents who seem lovely. And she takes her sister from the hospital, and like as her sister is dying, like gets her in the Lazarus Pit, and she is healed at the end. I think my main thing is
Selena's also dying in this moment. Like,
yeah,
Selena Kyle is also dying in this moment as she gets her sister to the Lazarus Pit. So,
true.
You know,
I mean, I guess the thing is, right, like I don't love that we're sort of like magically healing chronic illness necessarily. Like, I know there's
but
you don't love that.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest issue with it. But then I was like, at the same time, because it's the Lazarus Pit and it's DC, like semi-expected if you know. But like not everybody knows. So, like that's an assumption you can't make, obviously, that everyone knows that. Doesn't still make it like okay either. But I was kind of like, okay, interesting. This is where we went with it.
I guess what could make it more interesting, and this isn't something we'll never know because this is a one-off novel, it's not part of a series, but it could be really interesting if there was some kind of unintended consequence later on.
Yes.
To this happening, like, because I do feel like, I don't know, like you need a little more complexity around something if you're going to magically like take away chronic illness.
Agreed.
That's the only thing that
I like ask her either. Like, there's no communication to like, do you want to do this?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And that part is also weird. But the other thing I'll say, I did appreciate with the sister is that we met the sister. We found out she went into good foster care. And then we did not see her again until the end. So I was at no point like, what is your sister doing? Why? How is this working? Because I felt like we handled it quickly, and I was like, "Thank goodness." Because I cannot stand when there are children in a book that are like mentioned and then just vanish, and then I'm like, "But wait, where did they go? What's happening?"
Yeah.
So that's been appreciated.
Yeah, and like I get wanting to save her sister and stuff, but yeah, that was the only thing that I was a little like on the fence about how I felt about was the ending and just. But that is it does complicate it, like with you saying that like the Lazarus Pit thing is part of like that doesn't excuse all of it entirely, but like I do think it makes it a little more complicated.
Well, because like Ra's al Ghul, like Talia's dad did that to himself. Like he brought himself back via the Lazarus Pit. Like it's a whole thing of like dodging stuff and like obviously I don't know, it's weird. And I think like the lack of consent from her sister also for it I feel like is weird, and it makes it, but like it's 2018, so am I surprised? No, not really, I guess, because it, you know, it's not too abnormal, I feel like.
And I guess I don't necessarily feel like it grapples at all with the morality of that, like whether it's just sort of like brushed over as like this was clearly the good thing to do.
Yep. No, and that was the hardest part, honestly, in some ways, I think, where I was just like, okay, like I know about Lazarus Pits and I know about this, but like, this feels weird. Like, what is this choice being made?
Right.
Versus like actually discussing it and like talking to her sister before she just like dumps her in this pit.
Yeah. Well, and she doesn't really seem to be thinking at all through like the possible ethical ramifications of her decisions either. Like she's just convinced this is, which tracks for her character.
I was gonna say that tracks. That makes sense. But does that make it okay?
Yeah,
probably not.
I think I would have liked it better if there was something that complicated this a little bit at the end, even if it was sort of like her sister having like mixed feelings about what she did, or her sister like there being some kind of an unintended outcome. I think I would have preferred that. But other than that, I had a really good time with this book.
Same. I had fun. Like it's a like it's like a 3.5 for me. 3 somewhere in there, like which is like right middle of the road. Like it was a fun book. I had a good time. Will I reread it? Probably not.
Yeah,
but it was
I mean,
better than I
for me,
expected.
it's like a 4, maybe even 4.5. Like I really enjoyed it. Like other than that, it was fun. I don't have like
I have super struggled with YA lately, so I was like, for me, a 3 on a YA feels pretty dang good.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know we have like just a few people watching. Did anybody have thoughts or things they want to share who read it, or are you just hanging out to hear? I am glad I had you on for the live even with other people because you know some of the DC Comics stuff, because I don't know a lot of that background.
I know. My old nerddoms come out to haunt me sometimes.
It's great. I love it.
I also still like obsessively go to every single, well, almost now it's Marvel movies more than DC. We've stopped paying for DC movies. We've been burned too many times. So I have a weird knowledge of comics stuff.
We used to be very invested in the MCU. And then it just
I understand. Thunderbolts is very good.
I've been hearing that.
I will. I mean, I'm a Bucky girl, but I will say Thunderbolts was still very good. In a way I didn't expect. I saw it 2 days in a row, and I was thrilled to have seen it 2 times in a row. Normally, you cannot get me to go to a movie twice in a row. So,
I would see Sinners again. Have you seen Sinners?
Not yet. I need to. I'm afraid it's going to scare me too bad.
It's not that scary. It's really you'll be
I might drag Grumps this weekend to Sinners, but I was kind of waiting for it to hit streaming in case I needed to pause it and walk away from it.
You'll be. I think you'll be mostly okay. Like it's so good. It's not really that scary. Like it gets kind of gruesome at times, but it's not like scary.
Well, because everybody's like, it's scaredy cat approved, and I was like, I don't trust any of y'all. I don't trust any of you.
It's really not that scary, but it's so smart. It's great. Fun read. I'm struggling with YA. Not a huge comic hero fan, so pretty great when something like this is a 3.5. That's great. Yeah. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, I'm literally the only one who's like frustrated at YA books half the time.
The other thing to know about Sinners is like the first, I would say almost like half of the movie, it feels like a period drama, like a historical period drama. And then eventually,
I'm here for that then.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like action horror. I agree. So like once it gets into the horror part, it's more like, fighting and blood. Like it's not like
I can handle that. I can handle that. That's fine. I just always like, when everybody's like, it's fine. I'm like, do I trust you?
No, like it genuinely is fine. But also it's an incredible movie. It's so good.
Yeah, I know I saw somebody talk about how they didn't realize that Michael B. Jordan was both characters. And I was like, that's kind of wild.
He plays twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like doesn't surprise me. He's very talented.
He is. Impressive. They have the cast is incredible. Let's just let this turn into a Sinners conversation.
It's fine.
You need to see it. It's so good. Yeah.
I will.
Oh, I'm gonna make also, you must stay for the post-credit scene. It's very important. Okay.
Fair. Okay. Did the other ones not incorporate the side characters as much?
Not as much.
Okay. See, and I think I think also though for Catwoman, you have to. Like, I feel like the side characters are kind of essential to Catwoman, Yeah. In a way.
And I like it too. I like the female friendship situation, Michael B. Jordan is fine as hell.
He is fine as hell. You're not wrong.
Honestly, that cast has a lot of very attractive people in it.
Yeah. No, listen, I saw it, like, who all was in it. I was like, damn it, I want to see this movie, but I'm afraid. I don't trust you anymore. I'm very hesitant to trust people when they tell me things are okay that I don't, like, personally know, because I'm like, I have to gauge where you're at, honestly, you know?
Yeah, I think you'll be fine with this. It's really not, like, scary.
I'm like a step above a horror baby, you know? I don't want to get scared too hard, and I don't like jump scares in trailers, so.
It doesn't really have.
But it doesn't sound like, I had somebody say there's no jump scare.
Maybe it has, like, one jump scare.
That's fine. I can handle that.
It's like,
I can't do. Not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the trailers where they like freak you out because they're, and I'm like, I'm out every time. I'm like, no, thank you.
I do think it's really incredible. I agree. He did such a good job, and they're really different from each other in interesting ways. And the ending is so good. Like the post-credit scene, I was like, oh my God. Some people left my theater before the post-credit scene, and I'm like, y'all are missing out.
Well, and I trust Ryan Coogler implicitly, because like his Black Panther movies were fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think this book had like kind of flew under the radar. Not a lot of people have talked about it, but I figure I was like, if we're gonna do a read along, a Sarah J. Maas read along, like let's read all of her books, including like the one that nobody ever talks about, because I think it's pretty good. It is. I do think it reads like Sarah J. Maas. Like you read this and you're like, oh yeah, this is 100% Sarah J. Maas writing. But it's it's fun. It's pretty well done.
It is. Like I was
the only jump scare was not even the main baddies. I agree.
Okay, fair. I can handle that.
I think you'd be
fine. All right. Well, we'll see. As long as it's still in theaters this weekend, I'll go. But I'm hoping. Otherwise, I'll rent it on streaming when it hits.
I got to see it again. My husband hasn't seen it yet, so I'm like, I need to get him to watch it. I think he's too.
It seems. I mean, like I don't know the last time I've heard such praise for a movie, like across the board. So I've been like, okay.
No. It's one of those ones that I'm like, this is gonna be a classic. Like it's gonna stick around.
Yeah.
And it's a great vampire flick too. Like it's
I love vampires.
It's good. I love this. Yeah, exactly. Are you going to read all of her books except one? So I had to read it. I'm glad that you liked it. That's awesome. Liked the writing, but it's the only SJM book you've read. Oh, that's really interesting.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, because we're well into a read along for her stuff. So we have 4 books left to read. We've been doing this for like a year, but we
crossed the year mark a while ago.
We did. You're right, but
March.
Wow, has it really been that long? That's wild.
Yeah, we started in March.
Yeah, this one, and also I love this. I was so happy I got this edition. It was like a limited UK edition with like a signed book plate, and these were so cool. I have this one, and I have the Batman one. Look at that. It's got like the cat on it.
That's cute. I love that.
But one day I would like to get my hands on the Wonder Woman one, but those are really hard to get a hold of.
Fair.
I love this. Nosferatu, and
I've also been told I could watch Nosferatu, and it's not that bad. So
I haven't seen Nosferatu because I have heard worse things about that one. Like that one, I think has some stuff in it that I'm like, I don't know.
One of my friends was like, "You'll probably be fine," and I was like, "Okay, maybe."
Yeah, I don't know. But I genuinely like. I think we'll be totally fine.
It is. It's a very sleek cover. It fits that book really well.
It really does. They're all kind of like that. Like the I have the Batman one is like gold with the bat symbol. That's nice.
Fair.
This is what I've heard. That
this is also the friend that watched. Oh my God, what was that movie with the bathtub and the murders last year with the guy that dated Sabrina Carpenter in it?
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, she watched that and she was like, don't. And I was like, okay, but you watched Nosferatu? I like watching the parodies of Nosferatu on TikTok where they're like, get ready with me. And I'm like, these are hilarious. Or people just like impersonating him. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
That's so funny. I love this for you.
Listen, fair. This is not a long one for you for that.
Well, I'm sorry that you missed a whole month since we're late, but we're here. I do like Gothic, but there's a couple things I've heard about it that I'm like, I don't know.
Again, at home watching, so I can just turn it off. Yeah. Walk away.
That's probably the way to go, honestly.
Cleanse the
Sinners,
house.
I wholeheartedly recommend.
I'm going to try and go this weekend. I'll see if it's still showing in my theater. It probably will be.
Also, I love that it has done so well.
I do too.
And like so everybody was shocked.
I was not. When I saw that cast and the director, I was like, oh, this is going to do really well.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Do we have... I love how this has turned into so many things. This is the thing about this is I don't feel like there's that much to talk about.
Like I said, I just thought it was funny when I was like, this is Throne of Glass. But Batman. And it is kind of a little bit.
It kind of is, yeah, because like she's definitely giving similar vibes to like Selena from Throne of Glass. I think,
yeah,
which I don't know. I do think your point about maybe Catwoman inspired Selena, I think, is an interesting concept. Because I've never seen Sarah do. This is the only time she's done something like this.
Same. So and I could see it. I mean, or who knows how much they were paying these authors in 2018 to do these.
Probably a lot. Saying. They had like big name authors from the time, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know they did a graphic novel of this as well. I haven't read the graphic novel, but
yeah. I did not realize they did a graphic novel.
Yeah, they did. I love this whole audio. Yeah, I listened to the audiobook this go around as well. And I agree. It's like
I listened to it all day today, basically. Not all day, literally, but that was my read today. And I was like, yeah, this is fun. I'm having a good time.
It's entertaining. It's like got good romantic tension. It's got interesting plot. It's got female friendship with side characters. I thought, like the diversity of the side character of the various characters was handled pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, overall, I just feel like I left it, like, surprised in a good way.
Yeah.
And happy, because I was like, this is not bad. So, that's all I can hope for sometimes, right?
I feel like one of the big takeaways from this read-along that I'm coming with, because, like, I think the thing is, like, I started reading her stuff before I was on BookTube, and hadn't reread them. And so sometimes, it's like you hear people offer criticism enough times that you're like, oh yeah, that must be accurate.
Yeah.
that's there. And I think rereading her books, they're not perfect. Like, there are absolutely things to criticize, which we have in our lives. But I think the big thing that I've come away with is that the biggest criticism I kept hearing a lot of was like, oh, she doesn't write diverse characters. She only writes like straight white characters. And that's, I mean, her main characters are, which I think I'm okay with given like who she is, but like, that's not true. Like, she has always had side characters who are people of color, not always handled perfectly, but I think that's gotten better as she's gotten older, and she was real young when she wrote Throne of Glass. And she's always had queer side characters as well. And so there's been a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh.
No, same. Okay. I've been surprised at, and I think it's fascinating because, like, although these are not like a book I rec to people necessarily, like, I don't rec Sarah J. Maas to people because I don't feel like people need Sarah J. Maas.
I don't feel like you need to because like people are already reading her.
But I think it's fascinating because revisiting it gives me insight into some of the people who enter the book space via Sarah J. Maas and where to direct them better now, especially as we've had our rise in romantasy again.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing is I think her stuff is fun. I think what would be really interesting and just to think about, and maybe this would even be a project for coming out of this, is like, given, having reread all of these and seeing like what is it that's so appealing about what she's doing that draws so many people in, is how do we then take it like, like what are comp titles that we can give that are from more diverse authors that will expand what
I mean, that's kind of how I'm treating this. Like, it's my refresher on, like, okay, this is why people like her. Who do I know, like, that writes similar? Or, like, if you like this part, this is who you should try. And if you like that part, this is who you should try. Because I think that's lacking in the book space in some ways, like guiding people out of this layer of book world to, like, the other layer.
No, I agree. I mean, I think this is true. Priscilla, I do think it's true. I think because she is so popular, she is an easy target. There are other there's other authors writing similarly or trying less who don't get the same reactions. I think that's true. I think that there are authors who are doing a far worse job, who don't get criticized in the same way just because they're not as popular. So I mean, I think that's fair. I do think that it is a problem that the romantasy space is overwhelmingly white and straight, and I do think that there is space to be thoughtful about, like, how do you direct people to other things, but I don't think that requires saying this is terrible, don't read this. You know what I mean? Like, you can be like, yeah, it's fun. Like, I like her books too, but also here are some other great things that are out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like either or. It can be both and. Which is how I try to approach my reading in general. Like, I do a lot to try to prioritize. I do a lot to try to prioritize reading from marginalized authors, but then sometimes I read other stuff too. This is anyway.
No, same. It's a total side rant.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bolt real quick.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you wrap this up.
Okay. Good night.
If I come back and you're talking, I'll be back, but I need just a second.
Okay, no worries. Oh, you're okay. Hey, Jessica, how are you? We'll chit chat for a little bit. Izzy has to get a call and stuff. Anyway, so those are thoughts on Catwoman and, like, general thoughts, I think, on the read along that we've been doing of her books, just because there does tend to be a lot of that kind of criticism, and some of it is fair, like, right, like, as we've said in a lot of the lives, like, there are certainly things that could have been done better, especially in some of her earliest books, but I do think that if you read everything, it shows growth and recognition that, hey, like, let's handle characters better. Hey, oh, I'm glad you liked it. I liked it too. I think it's really fun. Yeah. So I think that's kind of most of what we have to say, unless anybody has other things. Noticed even when there's diversity, the illustrations and fan art sometimes eliminate it. I think that's true. At some point, part of the problem is readers wanting or not wanting that diversity. I think this is accurate, and this is not the only place we see it, right? I don't know who remembers when the Hunger Games movies were coming out, and there was people freaking out about the fact that Rue was played by a Black girl, even though if you go back to the text, she is absolutely described as Black. But people, that was not, I guess, what they read or what some of them imagined. And so I agree with you. I think sometimes it's like the people reading it who, for whatever reason, are skipping over or ignoring some of the way that the text is describing people. So I think that's interesting. Yeah. But also, I think it is a problem that there are so few authors of color who are getting published writing romantasy, and there are some. Lore of the Wilds has the sequel coming out soon. We've got, like, the Legendborn series that kind of fits into that category. I need to go through and, like, maybe make a list. If people would be interested at some point, maybe I could even do sort of like a roundup rec video. I think that could be interesting.
That would be fun. I know there's like 8 or 9 total authors of color. that are publishing romantasy right now.
That are traditionally published. And there are also
traditionally published.
And then there's also indie published authors who are doing it as well. So
yeah. And I think a lot of people are scared to dabble in indie sometimes for it.
Yeah.
I agree too. I think people self-insert and don't pay attention to the details sometimes.
I think that's true. I think that's definitely
and that's
true.
One of the big problems.
Yeah, Legendborn is great. I really need to read the latest one that just came out. I read the first two.
I need to get current.
You what?
I need to get current on Legendborn.
Yeah, they're good. And I'm really curious to see how the sequel to Lore of the Wilds goes.
I DNF'd the first book. Which I didn't want to do, but I was bored out of my mind. So I quietly DNF'd.
It has a real tone and pacing shift halfway through it, because I feel like the first half of it reads like cozy fantasy, and then it turns into this breakneck kind of something totally different, which is interesting. So I'm curious to see how her second book goes, but those covers are amazing.
Yeah, romance is a genre I probably struggle the most to read diversely in, as well as anyone else I know that tries to get that in. It's a mess.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna make a list of make a note of that, because I do think it would be useful to do sort of a roundup of hey, if you want to read more diverse romantasy.
I know Nora Williams has a traditionally published romantasy coming. She's a Black author, and I think it's maybe with Bramble. I think that's who it was. I think that's the correct author. I'm looking for it now because I was like, hold on. Is that the correct author? Could I be wrong?
Is this the right? I don't know if this is the right author.
It might not be. Well, no. No, it is her, but I don't know when it comes out. One moment.
Okay.
It's called Mayhem and the Mortal.
Mayhem and the Mortal. Okay. Love it.
Who's publishing it? It is Entangled. Yeah, so it's Red Tower.
Okay. Dungeons and Dragons meets The Wizard of Oz in a romantasy adventure. That sounds fun. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's a really fun cover. For romantasy, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Actually, it's a little different.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. No, I think a diverse romantasy Rex video would be good, especially because right now I'm moving into doing more rec videos. I have a whole series that I just filmed that'll be coming out over the next several weeks, but I will work on this because I do think it would be really valuable. And so maybe things that are already out and things that are upcoming, because I think I think this is true. Some of that is okay, but I think we need a mix. And I also think queer romantasy could also is also a thing. So I think it's out there, but I think it doesn't always get the same level of attention. So that is something I will work on, because I think that could be a good recommendation video, especially as we're kind of wrapping up the Sarah J. Maas Readalong. Because it's obviously if you like this, you're probably looking for other options, and see what we can find. I am about to read one for a project actually too. That's indie published romantasy by a Black author. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always looking for other people to have loved a romantasy book to sell me on trying it. Because I have decided I will not put myself in a book slump to try and read a romantasy.
That's fair. It can be hit and miss. Yeah, House of Earth and Blood, I'm excited for as well. That is actually the only book of hers that I had reread before. So this will be my third time reading it.
That's fun.
So I'm excited. It's a good one. It's among my favorites. It is long, but
I'm excited for it. And that'll be in June.
Yeah. So we'll have a live for House of Earth and Blood at the end of June. And everything's basically just getting pushed back a month. So we'll do Silver Flames in July. And then we may combine the live shows for the last 2 books in the Crescent City series for reasons to be determined. We would still give you 2 months to read them, but stay tuned. We're discussing. It's long but great. I agree.
That's fair. I think we should have built a break in. Almost. Anyway, so we unintentionally naturally built a break in without trying. And I feel like intentionally a break should have been built in almost. So
yeah, no, I think so. I'm glad people have been able to catch up. I'll talk about it in Discord. I'll talk about it in the Discord. But yeah, we're thinking about possibly combining them. So stay tuned. We'll give you more information on that.
Yeah. I'm excited this is done so I can start Earth and Blood so I can finish it in time.
Yeah. No, I'm glad I was just like, okay, we need to just have the live stream, even if it's just 2 of us.
But I literally had a talk. We were like, okay, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So let's just have the live stream so it's done.
Yeah, because it's fun. Actually, you know what? I just got this. Is this a romantasy? Yes. I actually just got an arc in the mail that's like a sapphic romantasy. And I'm not the author also might be a person of color. Let me look this up before I tell you. Hold on. It sounds really good. Maybe I should read this for that video. Okay, maybe not, but it is sapphic at least.
Okay. I mean, that's still a win. You don't have a ton of sapphic romantasy either.
So, House of Dusk.
Okay.
By Deva Fagan. Romantic epic fantasy featuring a fire-wielding nun grappling with her dark past and a young spy caught between her mission and a dangerous attraction. Sounds fun. Just got that in the mail. I love this. Yes, sapphic romantasy. So.
I mean, that was me. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in.
It sounds good. Well,
yeah.
I love this. I'm so glad you're able to catch up, Priscilla. That's amazing. Yeah, so stay tuned. I will work on starting to do that because I do think there are some things out there, and maybe I could like put together kind of a roundup list of some options for people who are into this genre.
Yeah,
cool. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I feel like this was kind of chill. It's so weird. I haven't done a live stream in a while. I've been so busy.
I feel like I'm marathoning lives. I had member sprints last night. This tonight, tomorrow I have sprints for the public because I was like, I don't have a video. I'm just gonna sprint. It's fine. We'll read books.
I'm just like doing not as many videos. I have for people who are interested, I think Wednesday I have a video going up. It's like a spoiler-free 5-minute review of Catabasis by Ref Kwong. So if you've been curious to hear thoughts on that, that will be coming. And then I pre-filmed a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna edit and release because I'm working full-time. So I'm like, okay, I need to both film and edit. It just changes things so much.
It does.
Yeah, it's a lot. But all right, have a great night, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. And I know we mentioned it at the start, but reminder, if y'all are interested in hanging out with us in Costa Rica in January, there's a link down below. We're co-hosting a bookish retreat, and it'll be fun. Yes, I have thoughts on Catabasis, so that will be coming later this week. All right, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.